that I am back in the path of a hurricane. Like, I hate that for me. When I say I hate that for me, y'all, I love Florida, but this is one thing. Come on in, y'all. This is one thing that I don't like. Come on in, subscribe. If you're not already a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe. And all that good stuff. But yeah, I am in Florida, and we are awaiting Hurricane Milton. I guess it's Hurricane Helena's husband. And I hate it. I hate it for us right now. This is a second hurricane in less than 2 weeks. And although I really don't want to live in any other part of the world, these are the things that make you want to leave Florida. Like this, as much as Florida is such a beautiful place to be, when times like this, the storm comes, and most Floridians aren't afraid of the storm itself. We're afraid of the aftermath of the storm. It's the aftermath that gets us. And I have a real hard time dealing with the storm by myself. Yeah, it's getting real. Realness only. Hey, Tanya. Hey, Tanya. Yeah, it's getting real out here. And I'm not evacuating. I live in a place called Lehigh. So I'm on like the higher grounds. Oh, you blocked from leaving? Wow. I'm on the higher grounds of Florida. I'm in the little suburbs like called Lehigh. So I'm not concerned about too much flooding at my house in particular. I am more so worried about, like Realness just said, I'm more so concerned about being trapped in. The last hurricane, Hurricane Ian, I happened to not stay home. So I had more access to the city. But once you get past a certain spot in my neighborhood, then you get flooded in. And I'm not leaving. I'm not evacuating. Although I thought about it, I would like to evacuate. But what we deal with when we have Florida, when we have hurricanes in Florida, what we deal with is not being able to come back home, or either not being able to. So it's like it's almost like it's just whatever you want to do. If you are on the outskirts of Florida, if you are on like the border of Florida, then I'm pretty sure all them people leaving. Ian has showed us that there's no reason to stay. I have two sisters that live in Cape Coral. They are coming inland, so they are coming with me and my other sister. So they should be all right. But the only thing is, how do we get back home? Like once we leave, we don't know if we can get back home. We don't know if we're going to have the gas to get back home. We don't know if we're going to have access. We don't know when airplanes are going to open up. It's so many things we don't know. And sometimes we want to be here because we have to be on top of our homeowners insurance. Because like we know all over Florida, they're dropping homeowner insurance everywhere. And I'd be surprised, 2 storms in less than 14 days. I wouldn't be surprised if all of the companies just got up out of Florida. Because it's almost like they're not making no money. When I had Hurricane Ian, they replaced my roof. They replaced my AC. They replaced my my well water system. Helena got a lot of damage in your state. And I feel bad you in Tampa. Like Tampa is, so I don't know if you know, but Tampa actually opened up their garages. I don't know how much that will help you, but Tampa actually opened up their garages so you can park in their garage. My brother is going through a flood right now. He lives in Tampa and his car flooded. And he has a very nice Cadillac, a newer model Cadillac that actually flooded. So they don't know if they're going to be able, they might have to total it out. And that was from the last hurricane. So that is so sad to hear. But we are doing a lot here. What I like, and I just left Publix, and luckily the Publix, if anybody is in Lee County, the Publix offers Summerlin. You walk in, you walk out, just grab a buggy on your way in, because the caddy guys aren't grabbing the buggies. But it's like, when we go through this together. When we go through this together. It's like we are a community of support, and you hardly see any arguing, any disconnect, because we all know that this is a storm that we have to face together. When Hurricane Ian came, I believe that's when reality sank in for me. I always had like a PTSD type of thing with the hurricanes, and it's coming from a younger age. Nothing happened in a hurricane, but I was left by myself in a hurricane, and the noises and what you got to go through and what you got to hear, all that can become overwhelming. So every time a hurricane comes, I get a little paranoid, and I know God is good. God has kept me, but I still get this little paranoia in me, because I feel like I'm alone, and nobody wants to be alone, trapped in a house. You could be trapped in a house. We had people, even in Lehigh, that were trapped in a house for days. We had boats that were on the water, on the road, because that's the only way they can get through. You could not take a car down our roads. And the sad thing about Lehigh is they don't require us to have homeowners insurance. In order to save Cape Coral, which is another part of Lee County, they open up the levees. They opened up the levees to relieve some of the pressure that was going to hit Cape Coral, and it came into Lehigh. So we were flooded by choice. The city decided that it would be best to allow more water to flood into Lehigh, not to take the lives of a lot of people in Cape Coral. So it made sense, but in the flip side of it, it was really bad, because a lot of us in Lehigh don't have flood insurance. I'm on higher ground, so I'm pretty much okay. With the last storm, I did get a metal roof, because I just felt like, once I started talking to the roofer about it, it was like $2,000 more. My son, he is going to, I believe, South Carolina with his friends, which is understandable. My daughter, she's staying at her job, because they're doing an overnighter. She's team A, so she has to stay over. So I have a friend coming down. My part of Florida, for those of you who do not know, yeah, it was a realness only. It was a choice for them to push the water, but they said it was to save lives. They said it was to save lives. So I didn't like it. I don't like it, but I'd rather my house flood than anybody die. Like, if I had the choice of letting somebody die in my house flooding, I don't care who it is, flood my house, because I don't want anybody. Flood warnings in roadblock, Virginia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. Ooh, I didn't know that. Well, he was supposed to be going, so he's probably not going, but he actually lives next door to my sister, so he'll probably do the storm, because it's four siblings still in Fort Myers, Florida. So two, Tracy and Nikki might be together, and Danette and myself might be together. I'm not really sure how it's gonna roll yet, but I'm gonna have someone at my house. I'm trying to stay safe, and you know what? I really like to thank everybody, because I get so many inbox messages, phone calls, text messages from people that I do not know, who lets me know, you know what, Nora, we're praying for you. Hope all is well. Let us know if you need something. And even after the storm, I still get those checkup on me's in every hurricane season. So I'm doing pretty good. Like, I don't have any problem. I just, like I said, don't like to weather the storm alone. I usually have this little homeless lady. I don't know if you guys remember her, but it was this homeless lady that I met once before during a freeze. Florida had a freeze, and everybody had to be in a house or they were going to get arrested. So they had to be in a shelter or either in a house by a certain time because it was the coldest day of the year, and they didn't want people in the street. So their only alternative was to get the homeless people and lock them up. They were going to put them in jail and lock them up for the duration of the freeze. So this lady happened to come in the church where I was working in the church, and she came in looking for a book bag, and I knew that was going to be the coldest night. And then she asked me for some money, which I wasn't giving her no money. I ain't being funny. I ain't in the business of giving out money. Okay. But I was going to give her, she asked me for some money, and I told her, well, you got to do some work for me. So I had her do a little bit of my work that I needed done in the church. And time went by, and I just asked her, I said, hey, you know, you don't have to go to the shelter. If you don't mind, you can come to my house. And wasn't nobody there. So I took her to my house, gave her a change of clothes, but I made her undress, like not really naked, but I made her like take her shoes and stuff off at the door. We put them in a trash bag. She went and took a shower. I have a guest bathroom, so I gave her a towel that I let her take with her. I asked that she wash her hair and wash all of her body. I gave her a new clean set of clothes to put on, and she did that winter day, because it didn't last long. Florida, we don't get many cold days, but it seems like we get more and more hurricanes. Like, this is ridiculous. And this is something. If I had a house on the water, I would sell it, because these storms, I'm from Fort Myers. Thank you, Squeeze. But these storms are becoming more and more frequent, and it's hard. Like when you're right now, my neighbor, his roof is still gone from Hurricane Ian. Hurricane Ian, his roof is still gone. And he's battling now with this hurricane that's coming, Hurricane Helena, that when Hurricane Helena came, they had a tarp over their house, and Hurricane Helena took that tarp off their house. So now they're over there dealing with waters that's probably dripping in their house right now. So when Ian came, he messed up my roof, and I ended up putting a metal roof on. It probably cost me like $2,000 more than it would have cost me just to get the regular roof. But the hurricane roof, the metal roof's supposed to last longer, it's supposed to be better. It has like a 50-year, thank you, Squeeze, like a 50-year time span on it. But yeah, so thank you guys for praying for me. I went to look for my homeless lady to see if she wanted to stay with me during the hurricane. That was before I knew people were coming over. And I couldn't find her, so she probably already found her a shelter. So just like she's good for me during the hurricane, or just like I'm good for her, she's good for me as well. Like I really enjoy having someone there, because you don't really want to be stuck in a house by yourself during a hurricane. Nobody. Like, who wants to be stuck in a house? I have everything I need. I have water, I have food. My dog, he has his food. I was telling Facebook a little while ago, to those of you who have extra room, I know the chief of the fire department, he had put on his Facebook that it was some people in need of shelter. So if you have extra shelter, that you can actually open your doors up to people who are either on the coast, and you know they got the flood advisory warnings to evacuate. And Cape Coral supposed to have anywhere between 4 and 12 feet of floodwaters. Out at the beach. I was at the beach a couple weeks ago. We all went to the beach. All of us went to the beach. And they had just cleaned up the beach. But Hurricane Helena, you don't even know where the streets are anymore. You don't know where the shoreline is anymore, because it actually pushed it back up. You don't know where the water ends at the beach. But yeah, no one would choose to build on. Yeah, so I do want company during the storm. But so the fire department chief, he asked anybody who has extra space, to let him know, because they are trying to place people who either don't want to go to the shelter, or the shelters are full, or for whatever reason, to open the doors to allow someone else to come in. I did that. I did that. I probably would have done it this year right now, but um, I did that a couple years ago. We had a hurricane, and it was this young man who couldn't stay in the shelter because he had felonies. So he asked me, could he stay in my house? Hey, Izzy. He asked me, could he stay in my house, him and his wife, and he had 2 cats. So I said, well, yeah, you can stay in my house, but I'm not going to be there. Like, I'm not afraid of my house, but I didn't want to be alone. And I wasn't going to stay there just because him and his wife was staying there, because I didn't know them. So I said, well, yeah, you can stay in my house. And before I left my house, I told him he has access to the whole house. He did not have access to my room. I got a deadbolt on my door, and I locked my room door. But everything else, I told him, y'all, whatever's in the refrigerator, if y'all want to eat it, y'all could do everything. Whatever y'all need to do, y'all can do. So I just asked him to keep his cats in the utility room. So before I left my house, I got my holy oil, and everybody that's from Florida, y'all know we gonna pray on them houses come during the storm. So I got my holy oil out the house, y'all, and now they were both in the house by now, but I took that oil and I walked around the perimeter of my house. But as I walked around my house, I was praying, and I was praying out loud. I walked around my house 3 times, dropping oil and touching all my windows and touching my doors, because I wanted my house to be safe. So as I'm walking around and praying and touching the windows and touching the doors, making sure, I'm protected, asking God to put the hedge of protection, then I started praying on the people that were going to stay in my house. Because I'm like, Lord, I pray that I ain't want them to die in the house. I don't want that. I done let some people stay and they die in the house. I don't want that. But not only that, the spirits, because I don't let any and everybody in my house. So I'm like, Lord, I'm praying on the spirits or whatever. So they heard me. They heard me. So as I'm getting in my car and leaving, I went down to my friend's house, and I get a phone call from them, and they say, hey, we're not going to stay at the house. I think I prayed them away from there, y'all. But they said, we're not going to stay at the house. And I said, okay. And they said, but can we leave our cats? I'm pissed off because I don't want you to leave your cats. I said, well, right after the storm, y'all come get y'all cats, because I don't do cats, So the storm came. My house was good. My lights was out. And I filled up my washer with water, and that's the way you can flush the toilet and stuff like that. So you have the steps you got to take before before the hurricane actually hit. That reminds me to go home and do it now. But when he left the cats in my utility room. So I get home to cats in my utility room, and he's not there yet, because the storm where I live at, either you can get in, you can't get in, or you can't get out. So it took me like a 45-minute detour to go around all the flood zones to actually make it to my house. And by the time I got to my house, I called him. I said, hey, you can go this way and that way and come get your animals. It took that man 3 or 4 days to come get them cats out my house. Y'all know how pissed off I was, and I couldn't open that garage door. I mean, that utility room, because I didn't want the cats to run through my house. So every day I'm calling him. So I told him, I said, look, I'm about to open this door, and I'm going to let your cats go outside. And your cats ain't never coming back in here, and I don't care what happened to them, because I've been asking you every day to come get these cats out my house. And this is all because I allowed somebody to seek shelter in my home. Then I got stuck with 2 cats. Hey, Avonda. But I got stuck with 2 cats. We need Trump. Oh, okay. You can vote for Trump, Tony. That's cool. But so I got stuck with the 2 cats because the man didn't come get the cats from the storm. So I said, like I said, I'm gonna let the cats out. I don't care about the cats. I live in this rural area where a raccoon might beat up his cats, because if they cats they belong in a house, ain't no telling what's gonna happen. So ain't no telling what's gonna happen. So anyway, he didn't come get the cats until I threatened him to put the cats out. They came over, and when he was pissing me off. When they came over and got the cats, they weren't thankful. Like, I guess because they didn't stay in my house, they felt like they had nothing to be thankful for. But they were a little irritated with me because I was blowing up their phone to come get their cats. And then he asked me, he said, "Hey, I see you got a well pump back there. Can I fill my?" He does pressure washing and mobile pressure washing. So he had like this big water tank on the back of his truck, and he asked me, bring, could he fill his water up with my septic water, my well water? And I'm like, no, because everybody who knows who on well water, I don't want my well water to be empty because he out there doing that dumb stuff with the well water. Anyway, couple weeks later, I needed my house pressure washed because my house was really dirty, and I called him up. I said, "Hey, I remember you do pressure washing. Can you come pressure wash my house?" He started quoting me off prices to pressure wash my house, and I didn't do a favor for a favor, but it would seem like she opened her door to me and my wife. She left me in her home. She didn't know me. I didn't know him. I met him at an NAACP meeting, but I felt like, I don't want nobody to die in a storm. So, and not only did she open the door and let me and my wife in, but she kept my cats for 4 days, 3 or 4 days. I don't know if it was 3 or 4, but it was more than 2, less than 5. So it was somewhere in there. But so I'm kind of skeptical about opening my door to people. I don't always open my door anymore because you don't know what kind of spirits you letting in. But this time my house will be full. My house will be full. And I'm prayed up, and a lot of you guys, Vonda being one in particular, but a lot of people pray for me and they call and check on me, and I'm a believer of prayer. And whatever happens, I know I'm gonna come out, better than I was. The storm ain't always meant to defeat you. Sometimes the storm come through, clean up all the ruckus, and set you back on a good path. Because truthfully, honestly, um, Tony, don't let them people bother you, baby. People don't bother me. One thing I learned, and I'm gonna get back to this storm thing, but one thing I learned, that the season for Trump and Kamala, I'm sorry, I do know her name, but that season will come and go, and I want to remain friends with those people who felt like Trump would be the better person, and I want people to remain friends with me who feel like Harris would be the better person. Through it all, I'm gonna live, no matter who the president is, but I don't want to break any real ties that I have with real people because of your belief slash my belief. So when people get on here and say vote Trump, I'm not going to argue with you. I don't care what you vote because it does not change my way of living. Back in the days, they made us slaves, and we actually conquered that. And we're still fighting today for a lot of things to be equal, but it ain't gonna kill us. One thing I know that's up in the black folks' DNA is strength and survival skills. We have strength, we have survival skills, we have prayer, and those of us who do not believe in prayer, those of us who do not believe in God, we are riding on the backs of our ancestors. So that don't bother me if you want to vote for Trump. But back to the hurricane. The hurricane part of it is, when the hurricane came before, my house was 15 years old, so it was some things that needed to be, there were some things that needed to be fixed in my house. So my air conditioner was going in and out. It was giving me problems. It wasn't gone, but it was giving me problems. My roof, it was 15 years old. They suggest that you change it after 12 years, I believe. So it was some things in my house that could have been upgraded, but I could not afford to upgrade it. I was paying insurance for 15 years and hadn't had an insurance claim. So when the storm came and blew a lot of shingles off my roof, and the electricity, something happened where the electricity hit the AC, and a panel came off my house and wrapped around my water system, and the panel that wrapped around my water system pulled my water out the wall. Like it was that Hurricane Ian was, it was a hurricane to remember. But when it was all said and done, I feel like I got a new house. I got new windows, a new metal roof, and they say the metal roof is better. It lasts, it got like I think a 30 to 50 year lifespan on it. So yeah, I think I'm pretty good out there. If God allows the house to be gone, it's gonna be gone. It don't matter how I storm proofed it. It don't matter nothing about what I did. If the storm's supposed to take the house, it's gonna take the house. If the water's supposed to take the house, the water gonna take the house. I can do things to try to make life easier. I can set protocols in place, but if it's to be done, it's gonna be done. If I leave and say, okay, I'm gonna evacuate, and I could die in a car crash, I could do whatever. If it's my time to go, it's gonna be my time to go. Period. So not saying that's the reason I'm staying here, but I just know that I'm inland and I'm worried more so about the storm than anything else. I mean, the flood waters than anything else. I just don't want my car to flood. I don't want my car or me to be stuck in my house, confined to the four walls, really without air. And like I said, luckily I have food. My dog got a new thing of food, so we're fine. I plugged in my fan because I have a portable fan that can blow, because a lot of times our power go out. And sometimes they shut the power out in order to save the power. They'll shut the power off because if they don't shut the power off, it'll do more damage with the power on. So we learn about these hurricane things being here in Florida. And they have disasters all over the world. So it's like, it don't really make sense to leave Florida and go somewhere else where they might have avalanches or mudslides or earthquakes or hailstorms, or, it's so many different things. Thank you, Candy. But it's so many different things that can go on. Park at the hospital, one floor below the top. No, my car is fine. Like the way my house is built, my house, because they did it in Lehigh for this reason. Lehigh is high grounds, Lee County high grounds. But they built all of us on top of hills. Most of the houses, if you come through Lehigh, they're sitting up on top of the hills. And then we have canals that run through Lehigh. So it's a lot of dead end streets because of the canals that run through Lehigh, so they can, get rid of our water. That's why they told us we didn't need flood insurance. But anyway, thank you guys for praying for me. I'm on my way home. I came to Publix. I had a friend girl that they found passed away in the house today. And you know what they say, life is like a vapor. You know what I mean? Just like that. So y'all continue to pray. Pray for me. Pray for Florida. Because this is the second storm in less than 2 weeks. Helena came through and she did she did a lot of flooding. She beat up North Carolina real bad. So, thank you, Seventh Waters. But now her husband, Milton, is coming. And Milton is a 5 out there in the water. But they said earlier that Milton was supposed to hit us at a 3. And the actual eye of the hurricane is not coming over Florida. Well, it might not come over Florida because the distance that it's at now, there's no telling which way. You know how they show you the spaghetti map where it might go. So it can come to us, but they don't have nowhere really but 1 or 2 strings that, thank you, Yvonne. Just 1 or 2 strings that might put the eye on top of Lee County. but we will get the flood waters, and we will get the deep tropical storm. Thank you. Is it Crandall? Am I saying it right? But we will get the deep tropical storm. So please, yeah, peace be still. Peace be still. And I hope everybody know, you know how your grandma said, be still, sit down somewhere. So I'm about to go home and sit down somewhere. The traffic right now is a little bad. You know, it's chaotic. We got people, the snowbirds come down around this time. So we do have snowbirds that aren't used to dealing with this type of weather, and they get scared, they get frantic. But keep your eyes on God. To those of you who hear me that are in Florida, that are tourists, don't do tourist things, okay? Relax. It's gonna be all right. If we ain't stressing, don't y'all stress. All right? If y'all go to the grocery store, get one of the buggies out the parking lot, because more than likely ain't no buggies in the store. That's my tip for today. But we out. I'm about to go home. Thank y'all for the prayers, for the love. And congratulations to me. Today I have 2 Facebook pages, but I hit 525,000 on my personal page, and I have 194,000 on my other page. And I'm grateful for each and every one of you, because I know a lot of my people, they follow me from different platforms, and I'm in a season of my life where I just feel like telling the truth. So if you go on my Facebook page right now, there's a cute little testimonial. You know, somebody told me, they was like, Nora, you ain't been going to church. Like, we ain't seen you in church. We ain't been in church since you started this social media thing. And that's so untrue. So untrue. But I used to tell people there's no such thing as church hurt. It's people in the church that hurt you. But yeah, I feel like I've been, yeah, you know what I mean? So I have a testimonial over there about some situations that happened in the church. And it made me really feel good that when I did tell the story, more people were able to relate and feel and testify to the things that they have been through when it came down to an organized church. And I'm not saying I don't want to be a member of an organized church anymore. I do want to be, but I want to go in with a clean heart, a right mind, a right spirit, so I can receive whatever God has for me to receive in the 4 walls of what they consider a church. Okay? Anyway, I'm going to let y'all go. I won't preach about that. I got my little snack. These are my hurricane snacks that are already open. And they are, hey, from Russia. Hey, from Russia. But yeah, I got my little hurricane snack. These are Trader Joe's turkey. Because I can't really do beef anymore. So I have to get turkey, but they good. They real good. They soft too. Anyway, I'm gonna let y'all go. I probably won't be back to after the storm. So again, like, comment, subscribe. Put me in your prayers. If y'all want to like up-to-date stuff, then I do post on Facebook a lot. But most people on YouTube don't be playing with Facebook. No way. I'm out. Bye, guys.